Hello and welcome to my TED Talk on Vanilla WoW private servers. I'm going to jump in and smother myself in the history of private servers to try to show where we came from and what Blizzard should be learning from vanilla projects of the past. If you're like me, you may find all of this very interesting because it shows how a community of copyright infringement nerds loved a game so much that by ripping it off and playing it illegally, we forced the company that owns the IP to actually recreate a version of the game they told us we would never want to play again. How we got that done is a story in itself, but the drive to make this video wasn't to just tell a story of what happened. It's to show how players have grown and changed the way they play vanilla WoW and what they want out of fresh servers moving forward. Blizzard is at a crossroads with their classic WoW servers, and let's face it, SOM was a bit of a misstep. But they can correct it if they take the time to learn from the history and evolution of private servers. Maybe this video will help, maybe it won't, but if our community was able to make Blizzard believe that we think we do, and we do, then maybe we can make them understand what we want moving forward. So take a journey with me back before Classic, before Light's Hope, and before Nostalrius.
Someone once said that you can't go home again, but they lacked vision. And a temporal discombobulator.
Vanilla WoW private servers have been around as long as vanilla itself. People who were either unable or unwilling to pay the Blizzard subscription, or who couldn't access the game in their country, have been hosting their own illegal versions of World of Warcraft since before the game was released. While there's a rich history to dive into, for now I'm going to skip ahead in time to the more organized private servers that were meant to emulate vanilla World of Warcraft for a large population of players. The year is 2010. Kesha's TikTok blasts in the background as we once again remember what it was like to kill kobolds in Elwyn or face the terrors of Skull Rock. Something stirs in us, and it's not the Hot Pockets we devoured 20 minutes ago. We pull up Google and fire off a shot in the dark. World of Warcraft Vanilla. We scroll through pages of search results until we find something that we didn't expect, but deep down we yearned for. Private server vanilla WoW. In 2010, our options were limited, but what we found is exactly what we were looking for. Phoenix Warsong. Phoenix was a private server organization that produced a number of vanilla and TBC servers. The first and most popular was Phoenix Warsong. Warsong was a vanilla server with increased experience rates up to times 12. Warsong was one of the most popular servers before Nostalrius, and a big reason was the increased XP. Early on in the private server community, players weren't interested in times 1 servers. They didn't want to spend days, weeks, or months leveling. They wanted to play vanilla WoW in-game for the PvP and raids, and Warsong understood that and took full advantage. Does that increased leveling speed and in-game focus sound a little familiar? Not long after Warsong was hitting its stride, another different kind of private server started advertising. The Rebirth launched in 2011. While Phoenix WoW was thriving, the Rebirth attempted to do something ahead of its time by releasing a true times 1 vanilla World of Warcraft server. While the Rebirth gained traction with fans of the original experience, it would never grow to a size that would be enough to inspire a wave of new players to invest the time to level to 60 to get to the content they were searching for. At this point, players were still only really interested in in-game content, and true vanilla servers with the 1 to 60 journey were too much. Players just wanted to get in, play max level, and not worry about anything else. Whether it was strategic or not, within a short time after the Rebirth launched, Scriptcraft launched its first vanilla server, offering instant level 49 and boosted experience rates. If you haven't ever heard of Scriptcraft, you may have heard of its founder, Gummy. Scriptcraft started off slow, but after gaining traction on both 4chan and Reddit, it blew up and came close to rivaling the population of Phoenix Warsong. Scriptcraft was solely created and run by Gummy, and while it was touted as being a high-quality vanilla server, the lack of management led to its eventual downfall. After the inevitable end of Scriptcraft 1 and the short life of Scriptcraft 2, the core and the player database was given to Valkyrie WoW, a Russian project group headed up by none other than Shayna and Krog. Valkyrie never really took off, and it would be several years before Shayna and Krog became a bit more noteworthy. Though it may not have felt like it at the time, this was actually a pretty defined turning point for the vanilla private server community. In 2013, the Phoenix team launched Emerald Dream, a ×1 vanilla server. Players had more or less scattered to the wind after Scriptcraft 2 closed, so this was a beacon summoning them back. Emerald Dream had the backing of a team that had been around for a long time, and that stability gave players a reason to give this server and the long road from 1 to 60 a shot. Emerald Dream was the most popular true ×1 vanilla server to date. It eclipsed the Rebirth, which was still running, and maintained a healthy player base even after players had been farming BWL for half a year. While Emerald Dream was showing that a true vanilla WoW no changes server could draw players, two teams decided it was time to share projects they were working on, and the arms race for the next best vanilla WoW experience began. Players had either given up on Emerald Dream and its lack of new content, or they accepted their fate of farming not so full fucking bis until the end of time, but that wasn't what we were all thinking and talking about. Out of seemingly nowhere, the Nostalrius and Chronos teams announced that they were both working on true vanilla servers. Both would be no changes. They were working to fix pathing, boss scripts, unique quest interactions, progressive itemization, proper resistance and armor values for mobs. The list kept going as each server strived to demonstrate that theirs was the server to play. Every week, players were flipping sides depending on the most recent development update, but what most finally agreed on was that the first server to launch would be the one worth no-lifing. The race was decided for us on February 28th, 2015, when Nostalrius launched and we saw the largest single server WoW launch in the history of the game. Over 10,000 players with no layering rushed forth into a fresh vanilla experience. In a weird way, this kind of feels like the end. Nostalrius was a pretty good server. It definitely had its flaws, but they built a great private server core, which they later shared openly with the private server community. But more importantly, they created a tidal wave that led to hundreds of thousands of people asking Blizzard for official legacy servers. And the crazy thing is, it worked. Not long after Nost launched, so did Chronos 1. Chronos continued after Nostalrius closed and even launched Chronos 2 in an effort to give Nost refugees a chance at a fresh start. In 2016, the Nostalrius team gave their core along with the entire Nost player database to the Elysium team, formerly known as Valkyrie WoW. That's right, Shayna and Krog. They would host a Nost Elysium server with everyone's original Nostalrius characters, and they launched a fresh server called Elysium using the new Nost core. During Elysium's life, it was found that Shayna and Krog were shady, to say the least, so White Kidney, a fellow shady individual, stole the player database and server scripts and opened Light's Hope. Then, in November of 2017, at BlizzCon, those of us who had for years been playing private server vanilla World of Warcraft, who watched servers rise and fall, who lost characters, made friends, made enemies, and who were tired of the shady deals, DDoS, bad ping, and corruption, were given a chance at something we never thought was going to happen. Classic World of Warcraft. Now this might actually feel like the end, even though we saw Chronos 3 and Northdale after the announcement of Classic WoW, and since Classic launched, we have seen several private servers release, and some that have gained and maintained traction. The reason why this drive down private server lane is important is because it shows the growth not just in private server scripting and management over time, but also how vanilla WoW players have grown over time. Most of us started out wanting that instant 60 so that we could go back and raid and PvP, but over time the draw became the entire experience, from level 1 on day 1 to finally killing Kel'Thuzad. Vanilla WoW players have shown that we will play this version of the game to death. We will start over from scratch and go again and again because this is the game we love. The history is important because it appears the vanilla WoW community is at a crossroads. The Classic WoW team recognized how important vanilla is to players and is committed to doing seasonal vanilla servers, but they have not learned from the history of private servers. Right now, they're giving us essentially Phoenix Warsong with Season of Mastery. You can blame the timing of SOM release, the popularity of TBC, or maybe the eventuality of Wrath, but none of those are why SOM has fallen short. The truth is that the hundreds of thousands of Vanilla WoW fans who signed that petition did so because they want Vanilla WoW. We want the original game. We want progressive itemization, and we want that sweaty PvP system, and we want the simple raids. If you're going to change things about what we got back in 2019 from Classic, then give us servers that allow us to have large-scale PvP clashes in the open world. Spend time giving us things that are vanilla WoW, not just things that are gonna spice it up. Even now, as you're watching this video, private servers are working on doing just that. They're creating a true vanilla experience, and it's drawing players in. They're taking information from the community, from vanilla players, from Classic WoW, and from all private servers that came before them. This video may feel a bit like a history lesson, but that's because those who don't study history are doomed to repeat it. I hope the Classic team sees that vanilla fans are out there looking for a true vanilla experience, and they need to know that if Blizzard doesn't give it to them, they're willing to go somewhere else to find it.